trying to help two great senators stay in the United States Senate so that the Democrats can't undo all the tremendous success President Trump had in his first term. Had two events yesterday, great crowds, 3 today, 2 on tomorrow. So a lot of energy here for Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue, two senators who are doing great work in the United States Senate. And I think the American people understand what's at stake, and that's why you're seeing the energy that we saw yesterday and will continue to see, I think, today and tomorrow and all the way up to Election Day.
Congressman, 77% of Republicans do not believe that the election was fair. We still haven't seen much accountability from Bill Barr and John Durham on a story that we know took place where they tried to take down a sitting president, take down candidate Donald Trump. Now Stacey Abrams says that she has registered 1 million plus Georgians to vote by mail. We just had a whole conversation about vote by mail with AG from Texas, Ken Paxton. Your thoughts on the security of this race?
Well, I'm very concerned, and just think about that figure, 77% of 75 million. That's approaching 60 million Americans. Over a third of the electorate think that this election was not fair, was not done the way it's supposed to be done, was not done the way we expect and always has been done in the United States of America. That is an unhealthy situation, an unhealthy environment for your culture, for your country. And if for no other reason, Maria, we need to get to the bottom of what exactly took place. That's why I'm glad Senator Johnson is having the hearing. I know you had him on earlier, having the hearing this week. Let's figure out what happened here. Let's let the entire process play out because, again, when you have more than a third of the entire electorate, close to 60 million people who think something's not right, you owe it to them, you owe it to the country, you owe it to our future to get to the truth and make sure Americans understand what happened.
Congressman, I want to ask you about China. The Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, was on this program last week telling us that his intelligence is showing that China has massive espionage efforts against the United States using blackmail, using bribery, and they're trying to coax sitting congressmen, sitting senators to pass laws that are favorable to China. Enter Eric Swalwell. And what is going on with him being on the Intel Committee? He's on the Intel Committee and literally sleeping with the enemy. I mean, you know, having a relationship with now a woman we know is a Chinese spy. What's your reaction to all of this?
Well, I think my reaction is the reaction the American people have. At the same time that so many of these Democrats were accusing President Trump of working with foreign governments, which we know was not true, which we know was built on this fake dossier and this whole hoax they went through. The same time that all that's going on, turns out their candidate for president, Vice President Biden, was in fact cozying up with foreign governments to enrich their family. And these very people who were making these accusations, not telling us about what Biden was doing, turns out they were cozying up with a Chinese spy. So I think there's some fundamental questions here. First question is, what did the speaker know when she actually put Representative Swalwell on the Intel Committee? She gets all kinds of briefings. She gets briefings I don't get. She gets briefings you don't get, certainly. So what did she know when she made that selection and he went on the committee? Second key question is, why is it that it's always the Democrats who get defensive briefings? So we know Senator Feinstein got a briefing when there was a relationship that her office had with a Chinese spy. We know Representative Swalwell got a briefing based on what we've learned from the Axios story and other stories this week. But it never seems Republicans get defensive briefings. Republicans get set up. Remember, Maria, it was January 6, 2017, when President Trump goes up to, when Jim Comey goes up to Trump Tower when it's President-elect Trump, and Jim Comey gives him supposedly a defensive briefing, but in essence, it was a setup so they could go leak the fact that they talked to the president about the dossier. So that is another, I think, key distinction that we need to figure out. Why is that always the case? Democrats get these defensive briefings. Instead, President Trump gets set up by Jim Comey January 6, 2017, when he talks to him about the dossier.
So Nancy Pelosi getting briefings as Speaker of the House and then making a decision to put Eric Swalwell on the Intel Committee, all the while the Chinese spies are coming and corralling around him, raising money for him to be a member of Congress, and then he gets elected.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's why I think we should look into this and understand what Director Ratcliffe told us, who's done a great job as OD and I. Understand how serious this threat is and deal with it. And also, I think it underscores another important fact. This president, President Trump, has stood up to China more than any president in our lifetimes. He understands what the threat. He understands how serious this threat is. He understands that not just the espionage, but the theft of intellectual property, the failure of China to adhere to any international trade norms. He understands all those concerns and was willing to stand up to them. And I think the American people appreciate that fact.
We've been talking about this Hunter Biden situation. I want you to walk us through what happens on January 6th. This is another date as we approach a potential transition. Tell us how it all happens on January 6th, Congressman.
Maria, this is real simple. Let the process play out. All these Democrats who keep saying, oh, we can't look into this, nothing to see here. Well, 77% of 75 million think there's something to see here, and we owe it to them to let the process play out. Monday, the Electoral College meets. January 6th is when the joint session of Congress confirms what the Electoral College vote was. But you can have a debate. If you have one senator, one representative object to certain electors from respective states being seated or being counted, you can have a debate. I think we owe it to the American people to have that debate. We'll see what happens in the hearing that Senator Johnson has scheduled for this week. But what's wrong with letting this process play out? For 4 years,
right.
The Democrats went after President Trump. Why not let us have a few weeks to let the constitutional process play out so we can get answers for the American people?